Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell them. Look, I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another topic session, Success Chronicle topic session. And today we have Miss Eileen Dong with us. She is Miss China International. She's an empowerment coach, artist, and philanthropist from Houston, Texas, for victims and survivors of human trafficking, domestic abuse, and sexual assault. And so I'm so thankful to have her on this episode. And today we're going to talk about going from victim to victor. But first, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles.
Well, thank you. And hi, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Baker, for this opportunity for me, to share my story, how I came from victim to victor. I think it will help many people go through their life easier and find themselves again.
That's it. Well, let's dive right into it. I know there's been some things that have happened in your life that have not been so good things, but now you have turned those things into ways to help others. So if you don't mind, just maybe hit upon a couple of things that happened to you and how you've transferred that into some positive things now and to how you help others.
Definitely. Well, I'm going to try to keep it short because I can talk days and nights about my life story. But, basically, my pastor says, you never declare yourself as a victim. Mm-hmm. But I have to say, unfortunately, I didn't claim myself as a victim, and the other person made me one. Yes. And the good news is I'm now on the other side of the grass. Like I have been gladly sharing with all the ladies and men, and surprisingly, like 30% of the victims and survivors are actually men. They just don't speak about it. Mm-hmm. So I am a survivor of domestic abuse, and that is what started this whole life journey. And short version is we met a long time ago, and at the time I was at the peak of my career and very successful. And you might know that in the Chinese culture, people sort of put marriage first, husband first, and family first. And a long time ago, most of the ladies don't work. So when he proposed to me and offered to me, sweetheart, we have enough income from me myself. Really, you don't need to work, and why don't you just stay home and look after me? But you all know that looking after him is a full-time job. Yes. And the thing is, some of the signs which we may mention, later, I wanted to mention here is that the controlling aspect of an abuser. And there are many ways of domestic abuse. There's sexual abuse. There is obviously physical abuse, emotional abuse, as well as financial abuse. So before I become a victim, I didn't even know there are so many ways. I just thought it was physical, and that's all. But on the other hand, the Chinese culture is also famous for it doesn't matter if the man cheats on you outside the marriage or the man beats you up. It's always the woman's fault. I mean, including my closest friends and family. They thought I was just somehow shameful to them. They would not let me talk about my situation. And somehow I'm just supposed to just swallow it and digest it. And therefore I went into this deep, deep depression. As a matter of fact, my doctor had asked me, I'm sorry to hear that. And so those times, and I'm like, I'll be honest, there was a period of time I had no recollection of what has happened to me. And now that I come to think about it, it's really scary. And I didn't know that until when I moved out of the house, which thanks to, the abuser that the court has to take it away from me. And at the time of the move, a friend of mine who helped me with the move noticed that the calendar did not change for 9 months. And that was the most difficult 9 months. All I remember is I was pretty messed up. I don't go to bed until like 3 a.m. in the morning and sleep until maybe 2 p.m. in the afternoon, then get on the phone and just cry to everyone, whoever I can get hold of, and just talk. And, some of the signs, it's like pacing. So I would be walking from the other side of the hallway all the way to the other way. And I would do that just like several hours doing that. And then I would be crying to everyone and tell everyone the same story until I told my girlfriend's ears out. They're like, Eileen, you've already told me that. And because of that, some of them just like, okay, I don't want to talk to you. But, that was the time I needed someone the most. And I was already a Christian, but that was when I would say, I'm still a young Christian, so I can't really quote the verses, but I do remember that, I heard some of the sermons talking about how Jesus find that sheep that was missing, and I felt like that I was that sheep that was missing, and Jesus found me again because I was already baptized at the time. And there are so many miracles that happened to me that I cannot begin to tell. Like so many strangers, it's like those angels that appeared in the Bible, and they came just here to help me, and then they literally, I call it, vanished. And that's what God tells me to just to have faith. And but it was hard. It was not easy. I literally went down on my knees and asking God, like, why do I have to go through this myself? But, enough talking about the past. And I wanted to mention that because, some people may be able to relate to that. And I want to mention to people that I am today, after you hear what I have done and achieved, you will know that if I can do it, and I'm a foreigner. I came from a country I did not know how to drive at the age of 30, and I failed my first driving test. And I came from a country that all my family are 8,000 miles away from here. So at the time of the abuse, if I wasn't smart enough to step out of that, I could have been killed. And I used to joke that, be fed to the alligator and nowhere to be found. So, there are so many things, and ladies and guys. And if you see that I can do this, you can do this too. So, you were talking about my life story. So that was the sad part. But the good part is, I have since done so much. And in China, there's a lot of good values of, being a good wife, being a good person, and all of the above. But it's like, okay, it's like a benchmark. Say, okay, so if a lady, you hit 30, you're done. Like, nobody wants to marry you. You cannot enter the pageantry, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest, when I got out of the relationship, I was really lost. And I was like, how am I going to restart this? This is not even my home country. I don't know what to do. But the difficulty is, like, he literally told me, he told the judge, he's like, she can pack up and go home. Well, I'm a fighter. So when he tells me that, and I have people who I thought that were my friends, and those fair weather friends, and I learned that phrase when I went through the situation. And they were like, why don't you just pack your shit and go home? I'm like, I'm definitely not packing my shit, and I'm staying. So today I'm proudly announcing myself as the Texan. I'm a Houstonian. And I picked up some of the accent along the way, like, I probably say y'all. So I'm loving the city and all, life has to offer to me, and praise God for everything that he has showed me that I can do it alone. And I thought I was alone, but I was never alone because God was always with me.
That's awesome. And I totally agree. The big man is always with us, even when we don't think so. He's always looking out for us and putting us in the best situation that he thinks is best for us.
Yes.
So let's talk about some of the things that you're involved in now. Now that you've gone, from now you're not the victim anymore, you're the victor. And what you do is you help so many people because of the things that you've gone through. You know what it's like. So let's talk about some of the things that you're involved in now, if you don't mind.
Certainly. So, as I said, as I was rediscovering myself and trying to find my identity again, back then I was always the missus. Nobody knows my name. So I said, okay, how do I find myself? And one of the things, I was looking in the mirror during the time of the depression. I really have no confidence. I felt like, gosh, I look so ugly. And he told me bad things like I'm a loser and all of these. And I really believed in it. I sort of almost worshipped that. But today I'm on the other side of the green, like I said. And so because of that, I said, okay, I need to prove to myself. And it's also a platform for me. So I said, okay, with all the ladies, say, okay, I want to be the ambassador of this. I want to be the ambassador of that. And for me, I'm like, I just want to spread the words that, I was a victim, but I can be a victor now. And that was my platform. And therefore, I went for the pageantry. And that was one of the biggest achievement that I have done. And again, thanks to the US, I didn't think that was something I could have done in China. And from there, there's so many opportunities. I got to expose to, different fundraisers, and I did appearances, and I was in, I brought a couple of the magazines, this International Focus, and this Bay Area, just a few of the magazines, and that featured me about my story and etc. But I always tell people it's not about me. I wanted to share with them my story because I want to empower them, and therefore it's a journey. So from trying a victim to trying to find myself, and then winning the pageantry, and then having the platform and using the platform to empower other people. And today I proudly announced that just last year I have been approved and successfully founded my nonprofit to help people who are victims and survivors of domestic abuse, human trafficking, and sexual assault.
That is awesome. That's good stuff. Well, if you don't mind, share with the audience where they can go follow you and check you out and show you some love with what you're doing.
Definitely. So on all platforms like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, as well as LinkedIn, you can find us, the nonprofit Hope Pix Global. It is HOPE PYX Global. And personally, I also support other causes like, the American Heart and breast cancer, etc. So you can also find me personally on Facebook and Instagram on Eileen Dong Official. It is EILEENDONG Official. And, we could really use your help because I really believe in the awareness. And, from domestic abuse to human trafficking to sexual assault. And we just ended successfully the awareness month for human trafficking that was in January. And my hashtag is, Human Trafficking Awareness Month 365, because I don't believe that, okay, everyone had the gala, everyone raised the funds, and everyone did the movie screening, and everyone talked about it, and then that's it. And next year, so what happened to the people, that need help now? And it is my dream one day that I will be able to have a shelter to help them, so that they have a place to put their, lay their head in, without having to worry that people put a gun on their head, or someone else is trying to hurt them, and not to mention the babies.
Well, that's awesome. Well, again, I want to say I truly appreciate you taking the time to do this topic session with the Success Chronicles from Victim to Victor, and you're definitely a victor, and I wish you continued success in everything you're doing.
Well, thank you. Thank you again, Mr. Baker, for this opportunity for me to share my story. And for the Success Chronicle, it is my honor to be here. And I wanted to mention lastly that today is actually the Chinese Lantern Festival. It is the 15th day from the first day of the Chinese New Year, which is also the official ending of the long celebration. So I wanted to wish you and wish all the audience, whoever is watching, a happy Lantern Festival.
Well, there it is. Well, thank you guys for checking out this topic session of the Success Chronicles. We'll see you next time. God bless.
God bless. Bye.
Go get it.